Sometimes I get a lot of shit for calling myself a Christian, even from people who call themselves spiritual, and a lot of them wonder. I've had one person commenting, asking why I had to hold on to this Christian mythology, when I was clearly had the spirituality part down. Um, and in a sense, the fact that it pushes buttons, to me, that's almost kind of the point of it. It's not to say that I do it just to piss people off, but um, yeah. I mean, I'm basically a perennialist. I see all religions as pointing towards uh, towards the same sort of ultimate truth, and expressing it in different ways. And so, I mean, I could just convert to Buddhism or Taoism or Hinduism, or any of those religions without really changing my beliefs all that much. So why then do I hold on to Christianity as my particular path? Why do I claim that as my faith? Um, the, well, I mean, the first of all, the most direct answer to that is that path chose me. Um, in my early 20s, when I was having all these spiritual experiences, I was using a lot of psychedelics at the time. I felt this pull towards Christianity. I felt this beckoning of Christ, and I resisted it. I was like, no, 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 I don't want to be a Christian. That's just, I felt icky, with the idea of being a Christian. I was taking a class on Buddhism at the time, and I was like, yeah, no, no, these religions, they have it a lot more figured out, but Christianity, But I felt that beckoning of like God was pulling me. I was coming kicking and screaming until I finally had this moment of peace when I accepted Christ, and like everything just kind of came together. Um, and so yeah, that's the main reason I'm Christian is it kind of fell into place for me that way. Um, but also, for me, my Christianity also has kind of a subversive element to it. Um, Obviously, it's clear to most people that I'm not like what they often conceive of as Christians. But I'm not like just making up Christianity. But it's not like I'm making up Christianity as I go along either. I mean, there are theologians out there whose views I'm very much in line with, including my own grandfather, John V. Cobb, but also Marcus Borg, John Dominic Crossan. Uh, yeah, I resonate with a lot of Paul Tillich's ideas, and so there's been a tradition of this progressive theology, Christianity, and both in like mystical theology and sort of philosophical theology, both which traditions I kind of derive my views from. Um, and so I'm not. So I don't feel like I'm just taking his mystical beliefs and just stamping a Christian label on it when it's not unwarranted. There's definitely this tradition of Christianity that just doesn't get a lot of play. I feel like that's kind of the point. Is I'm kind of offering a counter example to what is so often seen as Christianity. The fundamentalism in particular, but even beyond fundamentalism, there's like a sort of neo-orthodoxy um, that's represented by people like Veritas 48, you know, who who I respect and who I think has a lot of great views, but his theology is still very much, very sort of traditional, in line with the Nicene Creed. That the kind of theology that was sort of written by the winners in history of Christianity. Whereas I look I look to some of the groups that were sort of suppressed or that have been ignored. I also look to some of the Eastern Orthodox ideas, mystical ideas, like what they call theosis. That's union with God. It's a very mystical concept, and in Eastern Orthodoxy they emphasize theosis over the idea of salvation, because it. So so yeah, I mean, there's I'm showing a different kind of Christianity, um, partly for the non-believers, partly for those who call themselves Christians to maybe think about things in a different way. But I guess I'm particularly wear this label on myself for those who kind of think of themselves as spiritual but have this hang up about Christianity. Um, those who are into Buddhism or Taoism or Hinduism, and trying to have this non-dual realization, but alienating alienating themselves from Christianity, they're setting up this duality for themselves. And I'm kind of, by sharing many of the same views as them, but calling myself a Christian, I feel like I'm kind of like knocking down some of that duality for them. And maybe I'm flattering myself a little too much with that, but that's kind of how I see it. Is yeah, and most of them, when you question them a lot, they'll admit that they think Jesus was a cool guy, but that the whole but they don't like his followers, and I'm like, well, I think there just aren't enough people following him. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I feel like being a Christian is an enormous responsibility, in terms of trying to set an example, because there's so many people setting a bad example of what Christianity means, that and they're getting to write the dominant script about defining Christianity, and I kind of, I want to help change that. I want to show the different possibilities of what Christianity can be. So peace out. Much love.